Hello, hello, and welcome to the Everyday Healthy Human podcast. My name is Jen Rulon, but you may know me on the gram as Coach Jen. Well, today I have a very, very special guest, friend, Frank Soul. Frank and I connected how many years ago?
Oh, it's probably about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, I would
Yeah.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, about four
Yeah.
years ago. And Frank is the owner of Soul Swim Solution,
hmm
and he's a triathlon coach. And Frank and I connected because he hired me to help him grow and build his already successful triathlon coaching platform. So, Frank, thank you so much for being on this podcast because we just talked for 30 minutes prior to recording, and thank you for joining me and
Uh,
jumping on.
yeah, Jen, it's always good to catch up with you. Yeah, and again, it's been a quick 4 years. We have met
Yes.
at Ironman Arizona on a couple different occasions. We've been out to dinner with my wife Laura and I, and
Yep.
we've connected, and it's been a great
And you
journey. And
and
go
you
ahead.
changed my swim. Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
totally
yeah,
changed my swim. That got
yeah,
me
yeah.
much better for my last Ironman. I mean, and we were also at a coaching summit too
Yes,
together.
we were. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we were at the coaching summit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
USAT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So tell my followers a little bit about you and give me that 2 to 3 minute elevator speech.
Yeah. Well, again, my name is Frank Soul. I own a coaching business called Soul Swim Solutions. I have been a swim coach for 25 years. I am a level 5 ASCA, which is the American Swim Coaches Association certified coach, USAT level 2. I have certifications in, I'm a breath work coach. I have a fitness coach. I have certifications in functional movement. And yeah, all of those certifications sounds great, but I want to make sure that I'm capable of applying those elements to each one of those elements to my athletes to make them a better and successful athlete and a better and successful person. I've been at this game for a long, long time and still learning each and every day. I'm humbled enough to know that what I know has been through hard work and through dedication to the sport, but I'm continually learning every day. And Jen, if you don't mind, I'd like to add,
No.
I got in contact with you by happenstance because we asked each other, how do we find each other? I
Right.
found you online, excuse me, on Instagram. And I always want to surround myself with like-mindedness and with successful people. And success breeds success. And we are a product of who we hang around with. So that's a little bit about that. An Ironman athlete now, still train in the water 5 days a week, and still at this sport that I love for so long.
Yeah. And I love that you moved, if you don't mind me saying, you moved to the
Please,
villages in Florida
yeah,
and you're going to be a swim coach for them down there, which my mom lives in the villages, and I cannot wait for you guys to meet.
yeah, that'd be fun.
It's just
That'd be fun.
amazing. And yeah, I love it. So gosh, where do we even begin? So I helped you with, or I didn't help you, but you really wanted that push to get your book out. And
Yeah.
the book is called The
It would the 5 B's. It was a long
Five
title.
B's. That's right.
The 5 B's to a successful triathlon swim.
That's right.
And it's fun. I wrote that book a few years ago, and you were very, very instrumental. And because I was struggling, I knew I had
Right.
the material, but I needed that oomph to get over the top and the
Yeah.
belief that, because I think any writer will tell you, it's self-doubt will come in. You question it. Does the world need another book like this?
Hmm.
And that's not my, I always say I never promised the universe that I would write a masterpiece. I just simply promised the universe that I would write a book. And
Right.
it's ironic that yesterday my wife Laura said to me, she goes, "Oh, we collected some royalties on your book this month. How
Right.
much? Don't know. Don't care. It's the idea that people are
Exactly.
buying it and applying it. And
Yep.
what I did was I wrote and used the premise of the bees as belief, biomechanics, breathing, body position, balance. Those things were important to me as I coach an athlete up from where they're at to the next level in their swim. So I wrote a book around it. And in my world and in my eyes, it's been a successful
Hmm.
adventure into the world of writing. And I'm now working on a second book that is a little bit different, but I'm enjoying the writing piece. And
Yes.
it was important for me to go after this because I always wanted to write. And I had just sat up
Agreed.
one day early one morning and said, stop, either write or just shut the hell up
Right.
in your brain. And so I
Right.
decided to write it. And you were instrumental in giving me that. What's that? How do we put this? A good little kick in the ass to get it going,
Boop.
right? Yeah. Boop.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
all it took. That's
It
all it
and
took. And
because
it
I
wasn't a physical kick in the
self-published.
ass. It was just
Right.
moving it. Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, because I've self-published two books, and it's funny because I look back at the book, my first book on the strength training, I'm like, oh, I need to update that, but I'm like, in due time, but then, I did self-publish two books, and then I had a publisher reach out to me for my third book. So I think it's a very nice, what I like about self-publishing books is that it's almost like a business card.
Oh, it
Like if
is. Yeah.
you're, if you're at wherever you're, it's like, hey guys, like go check out, like you start coaching. Hey, go to
Yep.
Amazon, and y'all, I'll put the link in there for Amazon for Frank's book. So then you can sit there and improve on your swim with those 5 Bs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about um, the one of the, oh gosh, we went off on a tangent uh, about people not doing the work and expecting results.
It it
Where
it.
do where do we talk about this and not, but we're going to trigger people. We're going to trigger people because I've seen this with athletes. I've actually had to let athletes go because they sit there and they're like, well, I'm not improving my swim. And then they're not swimming. And so then
Yeah.
they want to come and blame me for the lack of coaching. It's like, no, look at the data. You're not swimming. So
Yeah.
we're going to trigger people because if you're not doing the work, you're not going to get results. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. And listen, I think you as an athlete, myself as a coach athlete, yourself as a coach athlete, um, using the David Goggins, and I'm sure many of your listeners and viewers are aware who David Goggins is. If not, you got to Google the guy. He refers to it as the accountability mirror, and I have to do that often. Is stand
Ooh,
there, buck ass naked
yes.
in front of the mirror, and challenge myself. You didn't do it. You didn't do the work. You weren't prepared for the work. You weren't prepared for the phone call. You're 5 pounds overweight, 10 pounds overweight, whatever the case. You have to call yourself out. We don't do that very well anymore as a society. Uh, Frank Soul, I'm speaking me for me. If you feel compelled to group yourself into that, it's time to call yourself out. I wasn't calling myself out. I was finding excuses too many times. Somebody just sent me something the other day. Everybody has an excuse for being sore. Everybody has an excuse for being tired. Everybody has an excuse for not doing the workout. Don't be everybody. I love that. Don't be
I
everybody,
love
right?
that.
Um, I just think that we've created this mindset to give ourselves an out, and no longer can we give ourselves an out. If you didn't do the
Hmm.
work for the swim, if you didn't do the work for the bike and the run, if you had too many other obligations, we have to own that, right? Um,
Hmm.
the coach, the coach, his responsibility is to post those workouts, get some feedback from you, give you support where you need it. Now it's your time and turn to go get it done.
Hmm.
Um, if you did not communicate back to the coach that you were struggling, that you were having a problem, coach, why am I still swimming my hundreds on a 235? that's concerning, right? I mean, if you're going to do an
Hmm.
Ironman, there's some things
Right.
called a cutoff that is going to make it very difficult for you to
Yeah.
finish that swim and or get out and be productive on the bike. So to answer that question, I do believe that is like you. I've gotten very good at this. I'm not proud of this, but I've been letting athletes go. In the years past,
Mhm.
I'm going to bring them up. 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 But the reality is, if they are not willing to do what they are supposed to do in a kind of a verbal contract with you as a coach,
Mhm.
there's nothing you do for that athlete.
Agreed.
So, what I think I'm doing now is I throw it out to God in the universe that I'm
Hmm.
attracting athletes who
Yes.
should be with Frank Soul. I'm not attracting athletes that should be with Jen Rulon or
Right.
with any other triathlon coach.
Hmm.
I am attracting athletes who are being
Love it.
drawn to me because of my energy, my commitment, my dedication to their success. But I make it very clear, here's what's expected of you. You do this, this, and this. You have no
Hmm.
other choice but to succeed. Um, so I hope I answered that question for
Yeah.
you.
No,
And
that's
at that point,
beautiful.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, because I think I you're right. I have gotten to a point where it's time to I let me back that up. It's been a while that I've had to let athletes go because I did the same thing many years ago with, like you said, bring me the athletes or the people that need to be around Jen Rulon, who want to be coached by a triathlon, who want life coaching, who want to be on my app, whatever that might be.
right.
I've realized I'm attracting those people because that's who I want to be surrounded with. I want to inspire and motivate those that want to be inspired and motivated. Like, I literally got back from getting my brakes fixed yesterday, and I was like, oh, I don't want to work out. I don't want to strength train. I just want to go for a walk on the beach, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, shut the heck up, Rulon, and get out there. You're walking out to your patio to do a workout. So sometimes we have to talk about that ourselves, like we have to look at,
Absolutely.
like you said, look at ourselves in the mirror. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in comparison, yesterday, uh, my wife says, "Okay, we got to be at our workout for 10 a.m. yesterday morning for our swim." My wife's a swimmer too, and we get there, and all the way we're driving there, I could have given you 8 million reasons why I didn't want to swim.
Right.
Okay, got in the water, had a good solid workout, and then you get out and you say to yourself, why in the hell would I not have done this?
Right.
Why would I have skipped this?
Right.
Why would I have denied myself the mental brain cleaning that I get when I'm in the water? I call it
Yeah.
going to church. It's like going to church for me.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual event, and I feel so energized because we know that as we exercise, your brain starts to create these positive chemicals that dump into the body, and you just got to
Hmm.
feed off of that. And everything we're talking about here, Jen, is really mindset, right? It's all mindset.
100%.
If
Yeah.
you have a mindset going, but Frank and Jen, I know what you're saying, but you don't know what I'm going through. Yes, we do. Okay.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, but you don't know my job. Yes, I do. You don't know that I have kids. Yes, I do. Because we all know people who are finding a way to get it done. Or
Hmm.
you've taken on a challenge that was too aggressive. But
Yeah.
I signed up for an Ironman and I travel 3 days a week and I have three kids who are all playing traveling soccer. And then I would have to just simply say, what made this sound like a good idea? Well,
Right.
it just seemed like I can get it done. Well, what are we going to do? Can we defer or can we double down and do what's necessary to get it done?
Yeah.
We all live a busy life. It is demanding of us in our society. We have the power to back away. We have the
Hmm.
power to sit down, do the David Goggins routine, accountability meeting,
Yeah.
Mira, and I'm way too busy doing things that are, dancing kitties on Instagram and ways and chasing things that are not
Right.
utilizing my time effectively. And
Right.
you need to sit back and make those decisions. So it all revolves around mindset. First chapter of my book is all
Yes.
about belief. It's all about belief. If you do not live from a perspective going, I know the world is going to hell in a handbasket, but you're not taking me with you.
Right.
I know that training for an Ironman is hard, but that's what I signed up to do. I know I'm not the best swimmer in the world, but I have to have a belief every time I go on deck that I'm a swimmer. I tell athletes all the
Mm,
time, oh, how about this? You're interviewing an athlete. They say, you say to them, going, so what's your background? Cycling. Oh, so you're a cyclist. Yeah. How about running? Yeah, I did a half marathon. Oh, good for you. Actually, I did 3. So you're a runner. Huh. So tell me about your swimming. Yeah, I get in the water all the time. Do you consider yourself a swimmer? No. That's your
no.
first mistake. If you do not act, think, and carry on like a swimmer, I'm not talking about fake it till you make it, but if you show up at the pool, you've done a triathlon, and you've swam, you're a swimmer. I hate to tell you that. You
100.
may not be the
Yeah.
right. You may not be a good swimmer yet,
Yeah.
but you got to think you're a swimmer because
Yeah.
again, that changes brain chemistry. Oh, I'm not a swimmer. There you go. You're not a swimmer.
Right. Well,
You're not a swimmer.
I've talked to many people who have done triathlons, who've done marathons, who've done all these events, and they're like, "Well, I'm not an athlete." I'm like, "Yes, you are." They're like, "Well,
Yes,
I just did a sprint triathlon." That's a triathlon. I don't
it
want you
is.
don't have to do an Ironman. You're an athlete. And
Yes,
so
indeed.
even I had that growing up. I played softball. I was on the varsity as a sophomore. Like, like I was, but I never thought myself as an athlete because I didn't run. I wasn't on the track team. I was a cheerleader, whatever. I was an athlete. And that
Yeah.
was like, so it's crazy how many women, especially how many women I've talked to who have on the podcast or just in general, oh, I'm not an athlete. Well, you're out there swimming in the ocean. You're an athlete.
Yeah.
You've
Yeah.
you've done a bike. You're an athlete. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just crazy. It's that mindset.
I It is mindset, and you have to have that
Mhm.
belief. There is a fascinating book I would highly suggest if some of your listeners have not read. Is a book by Carol Dweck. It's the name of the book is Mindset,
Okay.
and she is a sociologist, psychologist, and a PhD in that realm. And she talks about either you have one of two things: a growth
Get the link
mindset
from you. Yes,
or a fixed mindset. Now, if you have
100%.
a fixed mindset going, no, Coach Jen, I've tried that before.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me. I heard so and so third party from them. This doesn't
Hmm.
work. A growth mindset is somebody who simply says to you is going, okay, let me go to the pool and actually try that,
Yeah.
right? So those are the kind of athletes I seem to be really
Same.
uh, drawing into my tribe, who are going. Let me go to the pool. I'm going to work this, and I will give them the same set maybe for the week, and
Hmm.
saying, let's go try this. So it kind of leads me to another approach that I have with mindset in regards to that is training versus workouts.
Yeah. Let
Athletes will
me
come to
let
me
me
going, yeah, go ahead, go.
can I
I'm
ask,
sorry. Sure.
real quick, yes or no question. Do you think a fixed mindset can change to a growth mindset?
Absolutely. You're not
Okay.
born with
Thank you.
a
That's all I
fixed
need to know.
mindset. It's not DNA. It is the plasticity of the mind. We can
Beautiful.
change anything. If anything, I can spend an episode on this alone. I am living proof of that. I have worked my butt off to change some of the things that I've done, the way I've approached things, everything from my thoughts, anger management. It's all within our power.
Yeah.
I was sharing with
Beautiful.
you a visit to the Amen Clinic, working with a psychologist and a team up there to oversee what's going on in my own brain, and I made the changes because I was committed to the dollars to
Yeah.
make sure I made those changes. So to answer your question directly, we do have that power.
Love it.
How bad do you want to change? How
Yeah.
bad do you want to get out of that mindset? And we have to do the hard work every day. I have a regimen of things that I do every single day. I don't miss
Hmm. It's habits.
meditation, prayer
Yep.
time. I read through my Bible every day. I read
Yep.
out of one, two, three books every single day.
Beautiful.
Why? Because I have to change my habits to go in this, because of plasticity, to go to where I want to go. So, yes,
Love it. Thank
tell
you.
your athletes, my athletes, the world, is that we are a living, breathing animal, and we are where we are in life based on how we think. And my wife
Hmm.
Laura is brilliant at this after 44 years. She will call me out on my bull BS and saying,
That's
stop thinking that
beautiful.
way. You got to change it. I know it makes it sound easy, but because
Right.
of the work I've done, she redirects me to where I need to go. And I think
Yeah.
that's important. So yes, we have that power, my dear. We do have that power.
Excellent. Y'all, did you hear that? Yes, you can
Yep.
change from growth to fix. All right.
Yeah.
Now let's
Fascinating
talk
book.
about,
Yep.
yeah, and I'll put that in the show notes. Now let's talk about what you were talking about, training versus a workout. Is
Okay.
that what
So
you wanted to talk about? Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it really feeds in what we just talked about.
Yeah.
People will show up to the pool deck. They look at their workout. They have 2,400 swim. They're 12 weeks out from their A race, B race, whatever. And they get in the water and first of all, boom, let's get the Garmin all set up and let's get going in here. And off they go. And it is now, many athletes, it is a pursuit to just get it done, right? They post their workout on Training Peaks, Training Tilt, any application that reports back to their coach. Coach, I got it done. Coach is busy. They look at it, they evaluate it, and say, let me check with the athlete and see how things went, right? But
Hmm.
what I do with athletes is completely different. I will never ever use the word workout. When I send sessions, I never use the word workout. Never, never. You very rarely I may slip, but they know that I don't mean it. I call them training sessions. Showing
Love
up
it.
on deck with a training session. Here's what coach wrote out for me: 2,500 yards. Here is my purpose for you on being on deck for today. So, coach, so Jen, you're an athlete of mine. Why are you here on deck today? Well, I'm here to swim. Okay, great. Why are you here to swim? Well, I'm doing a half Ironman. Great. Coach or Avatar Jen says, I say to Jen, why are you here on deck today? Frank wrote me out this workout at 2,400 yards. What's the objective? I am working on turnover. I'm working on my 2-beat kick, and I'm working on my head position because I have a tendency to look too far forward. So I want to keep that
Mm,
chin like I have a tennis ball under here. And that's
that's
what I'm
right.
checking in with. That's what I'm focused on. And that's what I want to stay focused on. I tell athletes sometimes, I prefer you get out of the water more mentally tired than physically tired.
Yeah.
Oh, I read an article. I shouldn't overthink it. Let me tell you something. My grandmother gives me a recipe for her world famous cheesecake. The first dozen times I make that, I better overthink
Right.
every element of it. Who the heck do we think we are that we're going to get into water and swim like Michael Phelps without paying attention to the details?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
training prepares you. This is what this trainer ride is about. Coach has me on the trainer. I'm doing a zone 4 for 90 seconds. I want to kick my butt, take myself to another
Yeah.
level. I want to pay attention to my breathing, pay attention to my technique. How quickly does my heart rate go down once I go back into what I call an endurance pace? How quickly
Hmm.
can I get it down and maintain that before I go through the next round? That's the
And I
difference
think,
between training and
and I
doing
think,
workouts.
yeah. And I think too, like, I literally just started surfing over a month ago and
I
I am
noticed that, by the
obsessed
way.
with it. I am obsessed. And, but it's great because I don't have my phone. I have me in the ocean. That's the beauty about the pool. You're in the water. You're focusing on your form. You're focusing on that, that you don't have your, you don't have the distractions in the pool. But when you go to a bike, sometimes you're like, let's say you're on the trainer, you're watching Netflix or you have your phone next to you and somebody texts you and all of a sudden, oh, I missed an interval. Like, oh, I'm not going hard enough because you're totally distracted. So I think when you think of your programming as training and not being like, oh, I'm just going to do a workout today, your mindset is, once again, going back to the mindset, shifts drastically. I'm training for
Yeah,
an Ironman. I'm
yeah,
training for half Ironman or a marathon. I'm training for to be, a 55-year-old hot surfer, like that's my goal, right?
yep,
To cut
absolutely.
some waves, right? It's mindset.
Mindset. So let's take this in a kind of an order. We talked about mindset, which
Yep.
leads you to mindfulness.
Mm,
Minimize the distractions. My training is for my
yes.
training. So listen, there is nothing wrong with a long ride sitting there watching Netflix, right?
For sure.
But
100%.
we
100%.
all need, so we've got to find a way to motivate us to get our butts on a saddle for 2.5 hours and
Yeah.
hold an endurance pace and a specific heart rate or
Yep.
wattage and find a way to get it done. Sometimes you need a boost like a Netflix. So when we go from mindset to mindfulness, you become aware of things that are holding you back. How many
Beautiful.
times have you heard people say to this, Coach, my race was horrible. I don't understand. I did everything you asked me to do. Did you really? Did you do all your workouts? Yes. Did we get uncomfortable in those workouts, right? Triathletes are notorious for getting
Mhm.
uncomfortable in the swim, the bike and the run. I don't know too many triathletes that are willing to
No.
get uncomfortable in the swim. Okay, because I come
Agreed.
from that rank where I coached teams. I coached all the way from the national level all the way down. Was elected to the New Jersey State team as a coach, and we would always tell them, kid him, hey, if you got to get out and throw up, get the hell out of the water and throw up in that corner. Do not throw up in my pool and close this pool down. So that was the big
Right.
joke. So we don't learn how to get uncomfortable in the swim. We don't really learn
Hmm.
to get how uncomfortable on the bike and the run. So the reality is, are we willing to take ourselves to that place that is uncomfortable? And I have
Right.
to question myself sometimes. I have failed at it more times than I've succeeded, but I just stay with it and continue to grow through the process. What did I learn from my walking away from this quote failure? Because there's no such thing as failure. But the bottom line is be mindful. Do I have a growth
Yes.
mindset or a fixed mindset? And then create mindfulness around it and become aware. Go, whoa, whoa, I am not paying attention to what I should be doing here. I'm chit
Yeah.
chatting on the wall. 20-second break turned into a 45-second
Oh my
break.
God.
It
Right.
happens. It happens. But
It
you just got to
happens.
politely say, boom, I'm off. Got to go. Hip, go,
Yes.
off. One thing I will share with your listeners, one thing that I do with all my athletes, and I get this either stone cold silence on the other end of the phone or this blank look going, all right, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to swim this 1500 nonstop after our warm up. Oh, by the way, you can't wear a watch.
Oh, yes.
You
We've
hear
talked about
crickets.
this.
Don't
Yeah.
wear a watch.
I would, I never
What?
have I never want workout. I use the clock on the wall for swimming.
Yeah. So either
Love it.
or, well, how am I supposed to count my laps? 1, 2, 3, 4. It make you focus on this.
Right.
I had a
Yes.
master's coach years ago. We weren't allowed to wear watches. We didn't have watches
Hmm.
back then like that.
Right.
We had to know where we were uh, through the set. Now, the important reason for this is now we're getting into being mindfulness, and
On this.
paying attention to our feelings. What is the body
Hmm.
sending back? I don't have a watch to look at. I remember years ago when I coached
Yes.
Eric Burns, who was in the major leagues through his first Ironman, and he ultimately went on to do 10, 11 Ironmans. And he goes, well, I'm going to stop and check my time on my watch. Going, Eric, my man, you can't do that. You got to trust your feel. You have to
Yeah.
trust your stroke rate. You have to trust your stroke length. You have to
Yes.
trust your breathing. How's my kick? Am I checking in with my body? So when we get away from all this technology and start going back to
Yes.
kinesthetic awareness and feel and proprioception, learning to feel ourselves in an environment, you again have no other recourse but to succeed.
Hmm.
You have to. It's simple physics, and you have to succeed if
Yes.
I'm applying these things. So it's another technique I do. I would challenge
Love it.
any one of your athletes, go do a 500 without a watch, and then
Yeah.
see what the time is, what
Yeah.
you think you swam versus what you would normally swim on the watch. I guarantee you'll be within 5 to 10 seconds
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
time you got on the watch, and learn to absorb that feel, internalize that feel, take a deep breath and going, I got this. This is what it
Right.
feels like. Don't
Right.
always trust what this thing says to you on
Yes.
your wrist. Yes, it is objective. I get it. But I'm trying to train athletes from the subjective
Yes.
versus the objective. Make sense?
I mean, yeah, 100%. I
I
have
think I even
in
suggested that to you on a few occasions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even in training peaks, as a coach, I will look at, I'll see green weeks, bam, bam, bam. I'll see green lights. I'll see no comments. And then all of a sudden, like after 6 green weeks, I get a call like, oh my God, Jen, I have this, I'm exhausted, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, why didn't you write any comments? Like,
Yeah.
you're sitting there pushing and pushing and pushing. I don't know. Your Garmin is telling me that you're doing fine and your workouts are doing well. And maybe I could see some analytics on Training Peaks and see, the chart, the performance management chart, which is amazing as a coach. But I, I need to know, I need to know FaceTime.
Hmm.
I need somebody to say, you know what, Jen, I'm going through one of the hardest parts of my life right now, and
Yep.
training is the only thing that's keeping me afloat. But right
Hmm.
now, like I need a break. It's like,
Yeah.
well, why didn't you tell me that you were going through some of the hardest times? Like, I need my coach, or I need my athletes to be vulnerable with me, so then I could see big picture wise. It's not just Garmin or Sunto or whatever watch we
Oh,
use.
whatever kind of
Right.
technology we're getting our feedback. What you just said is absolutely true. Is that I want to hold my athletes responsible to let me know
Yeah.
what's going on, right? Hey, haven't
Yes.
heard from you in a few days. Yeah, life's a little tough right now. Good. Could we jump on a call real quick?
Right.
Which leads me to another point. There's something my athletes hear me say constantly: more isn't better. Better is better. So we got
Ooh,
to back.
right. Can you
If this
repeat
week
that
is too,
again?
yeah,
More.
I stole this from a physical therapist years ago, Dr. Gray Cook, brilliant mind. I got certified under him as a movement specialist, and he said, "More isn't better, better is better." All
Love
right.
it.
So if you have a butt kicking week this week, what we're going to suggest is let's take Monday and Tuesday off. Take a deep breath. You're going to be fine. 48 hours
Right.
of rest is a good thing. I do believe in a lot of my athletes, not every one of them, but a lot of my athletes will convey their HRV to me. I'm a true believer in heart rate variability
Oh, yep.
as a
Yep.
tool, learning tool, and a coaching tool.
It's a great
Coach,
tool.
I've been in the red for 2 days. Guess what? Tomorrow you're taking off. Take a deep
Yep.
breath, go to Starbucks with a book, drink some green tea, sleep in,
Hmm.
take the dog out for a long walk, go sit outside and ground, do
Yeah.
something, no swimming. I don't even want you to put your freaking sneakers on to take the garbage out. Put flip flops
Exactly.
on. So when you say this to an athlete, first of all, they know the coach has their back. Number two is that I think we live in a Ironman, or let me back up. We live in a triathlon. I'll even back up again. We live in an endurance world where if you're not living your life like David Goggins, going 7 days a week, I don't take rest days. I sleep 4 hours a night. I'm able to eat, deep dish pizza and cheesecake every night. You, sir, are an accident waiting to happen.
Right.
Okay. Uh,
Right.
Something is out of whack. Homeostasis is being ignored. You will crash and burn somewhere along the line. It is
Hmm.
proof that we need to sleep. It is proof that we need to walk away. It is proof that every pro does some downtime. But
Yeah.
they're the many times, and I'm kind of throwing a couple pros under the bus that I know who will be the first one to tell you, and they will beat you up like a racehorse, right?
Hmm.
And it's not the case. They don't know what is going on internally within that body
Right.
from a cellular standpoint. I don't. Then the athlete starts to question themselves. Why can't I do what so and so is doing? Well, there you're comparing yourself to
Right.
someone else. As swim coaches, what do we say? Whoa, whoa, focus on your own lane, man. Focus on
Right.
your own lane.
Focus on your own
So,
lane.
right, be better means that you don't always have to do more. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this
Yes.
swim down. No 4,000 meter swim. I want you to go to the pool. I want you to do a 1,500 nonstop. Get the hell out of the water when you're done. No more, no less. Go sit in a hot tub.
Yep.
And when we give athletes the permission to back away, giving
Hmm.
myself permission to back away, I will say for all the years that I've coached, if my wife Laura has said this to me once, she said it a million times, what would you tell your athletes? And I'm going, oh crap, I hate when she uses my own words against me. What would you tell your athletes? I got to, oh, no, no, no. I got to go out and get this run done. No, 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 no. What would you tell your athletes? Oh, son of a
Yeah.
bitch. She's using my words against me. But it's
Yeah.
true. So
It's
when we
true.
do that and know that if this is a journey, not a destination, because all life is journey. Michael Phelps could even tell you, is there things
Yeah,
I could have done different after all those years of success? He would probably give you five, six things
sure.
he would have done different,
Oh,
right?
I would say
Become a
the
better
same
athlete,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
A Tiger Woods, I
Shoot.
remember. Yep,
Yeah.
all of us, all of us.
All
So
of
the
us.
thing
All
is,
of us.
when we go
Yeah.
back to being we're mind based, become more mindful,
Uh-huh.
aware, right? And we slow down to really evaluate, going back to what I talked about is Goggins' accountability
Accountability mirror.
mirror. Yeah,
Hmm.
we start to really figure out where we're at, and then we go back to saying, I am responsible. It's not my coach. I'm responsible. I am
Yeah.
in this
100%.
position because I have
Yeah.
failed to do this and this, or I overestimated or underestimated my capacity at this time in my life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and what everything I'm saying to you, I hold myself accountable for.
For
I don't
sure.
ever want to tell somebody else
Yeah.
to do something if I'm not asking myself to do the same thing. And if not, then
Hmm.
I need to get my own crap together so I'm a living,
Yeah.
breathing testament of what I'm preaching and what I'm trying to convey to an athlete.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
that's it, dear,
Yeah.
in a
That's
nutshell.
beautiful. Well, I am, where can my followers find you?
Yeah, I, I use Instagram primarily.
Yep.
Soul Swim Solutions. You could just type that in. I'm there. I do post. I will just give a little memes. I will talk about swimming from time to time, or triathlon
Yep.
training, or mindset.
Hmm.
I am on my website is soulswimsolutions.com. Please feel to
Beautiful.
reach out to me, ask me questions, anything that may come up in this conversation that I didn't
Yeah.
address or Coach Jen didn't address. Be more than happy to talk over with you guys. But this is an opportunity for two coaches to share,
Yes.
to able to get vulnerable with each other and know that we're both out there for the best interest of your listeners and
100%.
for the best interest of both of our athletes to perform at their best. And I believe I even wrote in my book that each and every one of us have the opportunity to become not good swimmers, but great swimmers. How bad do I want to learn how to speak a second language? How bad do I want to learn how to
Mm,
cook grandma's cheesecake? How bad do I want
yeah.
to excel at something? I'll leave you with this real quick 30-second story.
Well,
I had an athlete.
I have a
Go ahead,
final question for you too, but
please.
go
Go ahead.
ahead.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Tell me your 30
Okay.
second story and then I'll tell you yeah, go.
Uh, and I'll even call him out by name. Anthony Gilbert came to me a few years, about 4 or 5 years ago. Anthony Gilbert wanted to learn how to swim. Got him in the water. He swam from one end of the pool to the other end of the pool. Held onto the wall, dear life, talking to God. You know, he's at church going, "Oh my God, sweet Lord Jesus," right? He's just go, man, amen, preach it on. So we got him swimming. Anthony showed up and did his workouts. I've never heard him say a negative statement about a workout, never a negative statement about even when he's injured. He said, "Coach, I'm
Hmm.
injured, but here's what would I need to do. Could I work around this?" He has swam in this 4 year period. He has done the swim around the Florida Keys 3 times, medaled 1 time. Last last summer in 22, he 29 miles around Manhattan Island.
Oh my gosh.
This July, 21 miles, Lake Tahoe. And right now, we're in the process of filling out his application for the English Channel. How bad do
Oh,
you want it? How bad do you want
love
it?
it.
This is his thing. He has raised thousands of dollars for organizations,
Right?
Alzheimer's, for his own father who was stricken with that disease. How bad do you want it? And I have to
Amazing.
question myself each and every day. How bad do I want to change? If I
Mm,
don't be hard on yourself because you didn't want it bad enough or you're not
right.
committed enough. How bad?
Right. Well,
So that's it.
I think you might have answered the final question. So the final
Go ahead.
question is that there's a lot of I have metamorphosized and transitioned many times in my life from, Ironman triathlete to, working not even in the fitness space, just and moving down to Costa Rica, yada yada yada.
Sure.
So, what piece of advice would you give my followers who are transforming into their better version of themselves into that beautiful butterfly that we all strive to be.
Each and every day, it has to be at a priority in your life. I happen to do it first thing in the morning because it works well for me.
Mhm.
If I don't do it in the morning, I have a tendency to get so involved with coaching, phone calls, text messages. In the morning, I
Yes.
get most of it done. Sometimes in the afternoon, I'll just retreat to a quiet place and go get my reading done or writing done.
Mhm.
I journal every single day.
Yep.
I will not go to bed until I
Beautiful.
get a full page of my journal done. I make my mental health a priority. I make my nutrition now a priority. It wasn't always that way. Use that
Mhm.
same example I talked to you about before. I can eat this, and this. Brain food. What we do is what we think. Our brain
Yes.
is our part of our body. Our part is part of our brain. What we put in here fuels this. What we put in our body fuels our body, right? So the reality is I make those things a priority each and every day. I
Beautiful.
learned to get quiet. If you're a spiritual person, I pray every day. I read my Bible every
Mhm.
day. I meditate every day. I go through a ritual every day. Chop wood, carry water. Chop wood, carry
Love it.
water. Rituals are so important. But
Yes. Agreed.
we cannot put that responsibility, and I mean this with all sincerity, and I mean this with a sense of empathy for people. It's not my responsibility. It's not my wife's responsibility. It's not my
Mm.
pastor's responsibility.
Amen.
It's not God's responsibility. It's not my therapist's or my psychiatrist's responsibility. I have to do the work. Live by check
Yes.
sheets. I work living by a check sheet. It works for me on your phone. I'm old school. I like stuff on note papers. My wife would be happy if I could just keep all of these notebooks in one place. But those things to me make the person. Then you start to becoming the person you want to be. And there's a fascinating book out there called U Squared. You can go find it, Google it. It's a
Okay.
little book, and it's
I'll
you
put
pay
that in the
for it.
show notes. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's talking about quantum leaps. And in order to
Uh-huh.
make a quantum leap, you got to let go of where you're at, be fearful of where you're at, but do it anyhow. What does it say? What's that old saying? If anything you're fearful of, if you face that fear, the fear will go away. And I'm paraphrasing it. And I had to learn how to do that. Post something. Oh, somebody's going to talk about me. Who cares?
Who
Um,
cares?
I'm going to show up at a yoga class and I don't look like I belong. Who cares?
Who
I'm doing my
cares?
first triathlon on a road bike. Oh my God, shut up. Who cares? They're
I
so
did
busy
one on a
worrying
mountain
about what you
bike.
think of them.
Yes.
Oh my God, yeah. I
Yes.
just had a conversation with an
Yes.
athlete yesterday. Go on your road bike. Just go and do it. As Nike
Enjoy.
says,
Yes.
just do it. So
Just
I
do
hope
it.
that added some value. But every day
It
it
did.
has to be a mindful practice, awareness, and if you're not doing it, you have to stop yourself dead in your tracks and go back to what you've committed to.
Beautiful.
And it's simply
Beautiful.
commitment. So I hope that answered that question.
That
And
answers it
yeah,
beautifully.
I appreciate
Well,
it.
Frank Soul, thank you for gracing us with your presence. I'm not
Been a
going to get
pleasure.
emotional on you, Frank. Thank you for all of your support over the years. It's just been absolutely incredible. I love the relationship that we've developed over the last 4 years. Rooster agrees. And thank you for joining me on the Everyday Healthy Human podcast.
It has been an absolute blessing and an honor to be here. And you have a very powerful message that people need to hear. People like yourself will draw to you who God in the universe wants to be in your arena. Do not ever give up on who you are and what you do for people. So God bless and keep doing what you do, my dear.
Thank you. And y'all, if you are loving the Everyday Healthy Human podcast, what we need you to do is we need you to share, comment, like, all of that fun stuff. Because remember, in Costa Rica and combining my Texas roots, I say pure vida, y'all. Ciao.
Love it. Love it.